Yep, you're ready to go.
Okay. Good afternoon. This is the State and Local Government Committee for Monday, March 7th. Assembled here today electronically is the members of the committee, and I will go around and ask each of them to introduce themselves, starting with Representative Mark Bryant.
One moment here. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Mark Bryant from Windham. I represent House District 24, part of the town of Windham. Welcome all.
Welcome. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Kimberly Rosen, Senate District 8. My district goes from Castine through the city of Brewer all the way up to Lincoln, and I live in Bucksport.
Great. Representative William Toole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Will Toole. I represent the Machias area plus Lubec and Eastport.
Great. Representative Kathy Downs.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Kathy Downs. I represent District 130, which is Bucksport and Arlington. Thank you.
Great. Representative Walter Reisman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Walter Reisman. I live in Harrison, and I proudly represent District 69, which is Bridgeton, Harrison, and Denmark, and it spans 2 counties. Thank you.
Great. Representative Francis Head.
My name is Frances Head. I live in Bethel, Maine. I represent District 117. And thank you, Madam Chairman, Mr. Chairman, for calling on me. And I thank you for being here with us. And hopefully we can get some of our work done. Thank you.
Okay. And Representative Lynn Copeland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Lynn Copeland. I am proud to represent the folks in House District 14, which is currently coastal and downtown Saco. Welcome.
Great. The meeting is currently being live streamed on the committee's YouTube channel. This means that anyone who is a participant in the meeting via Zoom can be seen and also heard. People on the Zoom meeting waiting to testify cannot be seen or heard until they are called upon to speak. The meeting will be recorded and available to view on the committee's YouTube channel. The format is new to all of us, and we expect there may be some unforeseen glitches and mistakes, so please be patient. A reminder to members of the committee about the use of the Zoom chat function is to be used only for non-substantive discussions. You should know the chat window can be viewed by any person taking part in the meeting as a participant. So in terms of the public hearing, Lynn, we are first dealing with, I see that Senator Rosen has her hand up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think there's someone else that would like to be seen and heard and recognized.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Representative Matlack.
Thank you. There's now 2 of us. I am Representative Ann Matlack. I represent House District 92, which includes the communities of Cushing, Thomaston, South Thomaston, St. George, Matinicus, Cree Haven, and the Muscle Ridge Islands. And I serve as the House co-chair of this committee.
Great. Thank you very much. So we have 2 items.
And Representative Greenwood is now with us.
Okay. Representative Greenwood, could you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Madam Chair, for noticing. My name is Randall Greenwood. I represent House District 82, which are the towns of Litchfield, Monmouth, and my hometown in Wales, in both Androscoggin and Kennebec counties.
Thank you. I would just say on this tablet that I'm using, I don't have this one. It takes 3 screens to get everybody, so I apologize. So we have 2 public hearings on 2 different bills, both by Representative Dunphy. Is that correct, Lynn? And we are ably assisted by Lynn Caswell, our OPLA analyst, and Cheryl McGowan, our committee clerk. So Lynn, do you want to indicate the 2 bills we have for this afternoon's public hearing?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The first bill is LD 408, which was a placeholder bill, an act to amend the laws regulating the operation of the legislature. And you'll recall that you are using that bill to do the GEA evaluation. And the other public hearing is LD 2005, which is an act regarding the reapportionment of the Knox County Budget Committee districts. And I believe there is someone here on LD 2005. I don't know if there's anyone to testify on 408.
Okay, is there anyone here for LD 408?
Not that I know of. No,
Is Representative Dunphy here?
nope.
No, this was Senator, this was our bill. We took it over from Senator Dunphy, who originally put forward 408, and we have stripped everything out, including the title, and repurposed the bill so it belongs to the State and Local Government Committee.
Right, and the substance of the bill, Lynn, is to do what?
Substance of the bill is to update the Government Evaluation Act. And I did share a bill analysis if the committee decides today to go from the public hearing into the work session. I'm prepared to describe it in more depth.
Representative Toole?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wondered if Lynn could do a brief summary of the specific changes in it, and then we can make a decision whether we want to proceed with the work session or what.
There we go.
Hey, yes, absolutely, Representative Toole. So this bill, you'll recall that there is a requirement in statute, and I'm going to try and screen share with you all. There is a requirement in statute in, are you seeing a lovely picture of water, or are you seeing a document?
Document.
And I did this right. So LD 408, as you've heard, was a concept draft. This committee decided to use it to fulfill your obligations under Title III, Section 963. I've highlighted it for you. This committee, before June 30th of 2022, has to review the entire Government Evaluation Act, which I believe is Chapter 35 in Title III. And this happens generally every 10 years. So the last time I think it happened was in 2013. So a little off, but every 10 years. And generally what happens is you go through the section of the statute. You see here, Section 959. That sets out the dates that reports are due and which committees the reports go to. So every 10 years, what you do is you update the dates and you update the committees of jurisdiction if necessary. So in preparation and drafting this bill, I reached out to all the other analysts in OPLA to find out if there were any reports that went to their committee or that were required to go to their committee under current Section 959 that perhaps belonged elsewhere, and 2 were identified. And so in this bill draft, which I'm going to go to next, 2 things happened. First, the dates were updated by adding 8 years because GEA says reports are due every 8 years. And second, 2 reports were moved in this bill draft. The medical marijuana program under the current statute reports to the HHS committee. And as most of you know, the medical marijuana program is now within DAFS and it is overseen currently by VLA committee. And the Maine State Housing Authority under current statute reports to the IDEA committee. And the IDEA committee and the Labor and Housing Committee kind of have fluctuating jurisdiction over housing matters. So what this bill proposes to do is to take those 2 programs out from where they are. I'm going to go to the end. As you can see here, you'll see that every date there's an 8 years added. So 2019 is 2027. So throughout this entire this section of Chapter 35, the dates are updated by adding 8 years. And then you'll see at the very top of this page, the very top right here, section S, now says that the medical marijuana program report goes to the committee with jurisdiction over medical marijuana. I didn't identify a specific committee in case in the next 10 years, VLA no longer has jurisdiction over medical marijuana. This allows that report to be submitted by, actually this one is due in 2025, to whichever committee has jurisdiction. Similarly, if you look at T, which I'm moving up, this is the Main State Housing Authority report, which is due in 2023. And that will go to the committee with jurisdiction over housing. And similarly, because housing often gets moved from one committee to another, this provides for flexibility on which committee of the legislature hears and reviews.
Mr. Chair, I think we're looking at a summary, but should we be looking at the proposed amendment? Is that what you're reading from then?
That is a proposed amendment that I'm reading from, yes.
Right. What we're seeing up on the screen is that the summary? I think it's a summary document.
So this is a cut and paste of the bill amendment that I cut and paste into this document.
That's what I understood, but go ahead, Lynn.
So this is the bill that the committee proposed. I just dropped it into the same document, into another document. And so the other change that is made in this proposed committee amendment is here in section 963. So this is the section that requires you to do this review every 10 years. So of course I changed the date from 2022 to 2032. I also changed the date from June 30th to March 30th, because if you're in a second session like we are now, you're not going to be in session on June 30th. March 30th, you're in session, whether it's a first or a second session. And I also added language here that specifies that you, the committee, have the ability to report out a bill during the session that you get the report, because as you all know, we struggled with finding a vehicle to do this bill. So those are the proposed changes to Chapter 35 being made, if you vote them out, being made in.
These are basically housekeeping measures just to keep us in tune with the statutory requirements.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Is there any discussion by member? Can we go? Yeah. Are there any discussion by members of the committee? Representative Matlack?
No real discussion. I think that you're right. This is just pro forma and we're updating it, but also adding clarification that the state and local government committee may report out a bill on its own without having to resort to finding a document to use. So I'm going to move ought to pass as amended.
Do I need to close the public hearing, Lynn?
No.
So I will close the public hearing. I will now entertain a motion to go into a work session.
So moved.
Okay, everybody in favor of going into a work session? Okay, Representative Matlack, you have the floor.
Thank you. I move ought to pass as amended on this bill.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I ask Cheryl to call the roll.
LD 408 ought to pass as amended. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Tool.
yes.
Representative William Tool, yes. Representative Mark Bryant.
yes,
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head. Yeah, you're good, ma'am.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, yes. Representative Walter Reisman. You're not good, sir. You need to mute, sorry.
Unmute, yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
Yes.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. That is 10 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Lynn, the next one has to do with the Knox County Budget Committee. Is that correct, Representative Matlack? LD 2005, an act regarding the reapportionment of the Knox County Budget Committee districts.
Yes.
Representative Matlack, did you want to speak on that?
Just briefly, this is a technical bill that comes along every 10 years. The Knox County Budget Committee is an elected board and needs to be reapportioned, and the reapportionment is done by the state, but it's not part of the same apportionment that we did for House and Senate districts or any other the apportionment. This is just a different kettle of fish. So we are approving the recommendations of the Knox County Commissioners that the commissions stay the same. And we have the Knox County Administrator here to discuss. Mr. Hart has been patiently waiting for several weeks to tell us why this is a very simple bill that we should just pass quickly. Thank you.
So let's have Mr. Hart come in. Mr. Hart, welcome back to State and Local Governments.
Good afternoon, Senator Baldwin.
What would you like to say about LD 2005?
Just to start out, good afternoon again, Senate Chair Baldacci and House Chair Matlack and members of the Joint Standing Committee on State and Local Government. My name is Andrew Hart. I'm a resident of the town of Camden. I'm also the Knox County Administrator, and I did provide testimony to the Committee on State and Local Government. I also provided a memo that I had written to give to the Knox County Commissioners about the redistricting of the Budget Committee for Knox County, which was a recommendation not to redistrict because we looked at all of the districts and the percentage was less than 5% between districts. And then it was less than the 10%, actually less than 5%, but 10% requirement between the lowest and the highest district. So the recommendation and the commissioners actually voted, and I did provide a copy of those minutes as well. They voted not to reapportion the Knox County Budget Committee, and per our charter, we would then look at it in 10 years from now, back again in 2032. So if you have any questions, I certainly can answer those.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Any questions for the Knox County Administrator? Okay. Representative Matlack?
So, Mr. Hart, this was basically a unanimous decision that the districts as currently comprised are appropriate, including those in the city of Rockland. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I don't hear any further discussion. Representative Matlack, are you looking to, let me close the public hearing and then open a work session?
Please, sir.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to go into work session?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor? Raise your hand. All those opposed? Okay, so we are now in work session. Is there a motion? Representative Matlack?
Yes, I make a motion ought to pass That's not amended, it is as it is. So on a motion to pass on this bill.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask Cheryl to call the roll.
Senator Rosen, did you second that? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I recognized your voice. That's pretty sad when I start doing that.
I think the
Thank you.
dog next door seconded it, right? He's very cute.
LD 2005 ought to pass. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
Yes.
Representative William Toole, yes. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
Yes.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. That's 10 yes and 2 absent.
Great. Representative Matlack.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before Mr. Hart departs, I wanted to clarify, we have another bill coming up, LD 1806, an act to clarify the boundary between Waldo County and Knox County in Penobscot Bay. As I mentioned to members of the committee, I sat in on the meeting of the group discussing this bill last Thursday. And at present, there is agreement, but there's no details, there's no map, there's no approval by the two county commissioner groups. So if we propose to kill this bill today, that would not be a problem. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you very much.
I would just reiterate that doing that would be more procedural in that it's our intent, God willing, that we reintroduce at the next session an agreement. So we are glad that Knox and Waldo have talked and are talking, and we hope that before we come back, that Knox and Waldo will have an agreement that we can ratify as law. So I just want to thank both counties and their administrators for the work they've done, because as we said at the public hearing, litigation on this matter would be costly and inefficient, and having it done this way is going to be better for all concerned. So I'm glad that you guys are making progress. Is there, you want to go into work session on that item right now?
Sure, let's do that right now
Okay.
while Mr. Hart is here.
Okay, do you have a motion? All those in favor of going to work session, raise their hands. Okay, and all those opposed, seeing none. Is there a motion, Representative Matlack?
Yes, I move that LD 1806 ought not to pass.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Second, okay. Okay, Cheryl, call the roll.
That's a quick.
Yeah, we're moving.
Jesus Christ. LD 1806 ought not to pass. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
Yes.
Representative William Toole, yes. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head. And you are already unmuted, ma'am. Oh, now you're muted. There you go.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, Yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes,
I need to see you, sir, please.
one moment.
Okie dokie.
Start. Come on. Am I on there yet?
Nope.
No,
No.
it's always something.
I'll come back to you, sir.
Yeah,
Representative Kathy Downs.
Yes.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes, from Saco.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. That's 10 yes and 2 absent.
Great. Madam Chair, Representative Matlack, I'm going to turn the reins over to you. I have to go to another hearing, and I will check back and see if you guys are still working when I get done. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much, sir. And
Thank you.
Mr. Hart, thank you for coming by and helping us resolve 2 matters today. We appreciate your assistance.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the committee's work too.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
We have several additional, we still have a couple of bills to work on today. First up will be 1975, an act concerning winter maintenance on private roads in the town of Wyndham. Lynn, you have prepared an amendment to this bill, and I believe that other members, including Representative Bryant, have been working on this to come up with a resolution that's acceptable to as many folks as possible. Lynn.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So I did include in the packet of materials that I sent out what I believe is the amendment. What I sent out was the amendment as I understood the town of Wyndham, what they were seeking at their most recent version. And they have pointed out to me that I have one date wrong. But before I get to that detail, I was going to just do a bit of a bill analysis. As you will recall, in the first special session, you all passed a bill out of this committee, which became a private and special law, Chapter 10, which allowed the town of Wyndham a certain level of permission and instruction so that they could resolve an ongoing and longstanding issue they have with the winter maintenance they have been providing to a variety of roads in the town, private ways, over which they may or may not have had a public easement. They reported back to this committee as they were required to, and asked the committee for another bill, which you all agreed to report out. And I'm going to screen share. The bill asks for a variety of things, and I tried to call them into language that made sense because I struggled in trying to describe to you all in a concise way what the bill was asking and what some potential issues would be. So the first thing this bill is asking is for continued, what I'm describing these as short-term authority and long-term authority. So the town is asking this committee to extend that short-term authority that allows them to provide winter maintenance on these certain private ways absent the public easement. And there was a discussion about whether the short-term authority would go till October of 2023 or October of 2024. And that is the date you'll see in front of you on this screen. It says October 1 of 2024. I believe that others will be able to discuss what the actual year was that the parties have agreed to. But regardless, it's either a 1 or a 2-year extension of this permission to allow the town to continue this winter maintenance while they work with the property owners to obtain public easements. So I'm hoping my screen just moved. I heard it the last time my screen didn't move. So do you all now see a screen that says long-term authority?
Yes.
Okay, good, it's working. So I identified what I think are 5 other issues, other requests in this bill from the town of Wyndham. The first one is they are saying, please provide long-term authority to prevent legal claims from those individuals who lived on those private ways, but these private ways have become a town way because of this 20 years of winter maintenance. So they're asking, please do not allow anyone to bring a legal claim against the town based on their prior action of winter maintenance. And what I've done, you'll see there's little quotations underneath each of these items. That's the language from the bill that addresses what I'm identifying in all of these. The second type of authority that they're looking for, the second long-term authority, is to prevent claims against the town that they have to continue providing this winter maintenance, even if the property owners do not issue public easements or share public easements. So those are kind of cutting off, I would say 2 and 3 are cutting off the claims by these property owners that something the town did in the past gives them some legal claim that this is a town way or the town needs to keep doing that. So that's 2 and 3. 4 and 5 are, again, I'm calling these long-term authority. Number 4 is they're asking the legislature to confirm that providing winter maintenance does in fact meet the public purpose doctrine. And you'll recall we discussed that earlier. In the first session, I included there's been several memos by the Attorney General's office to the legislature over the years about when is road maintenance by a town meet that public purpose doctrine. And I can go in depth with you all on that. And I said there's materials near the end. I think that the town has made a good faith effort to say that the winter maintenance, and this was in the report that they submitted, that this winter maintenance reduces runoff into the surrounding bodies of water. And that environmental benefit or that prevention of environmental destruction is a public purpose. And you'll recall that you need to spend public funds for a public purpose, not for a private purpose. So they're asking the legislature to confirm that this is a public purpose. And the reason that they would seek that, or at least I think they would seek that, is because a court considers what the legislature says on this matter. If you have said, we think this is a public purpose, they give weight to that. Should anyone challenge this as being contrary to the public purpose doctrine, the court gives weight to your decision. The court can always say, you said this, but that's not true. But they do give weight. So the town is asking for the legislature to weigh in on that issue. And the final type of long-term authority that they're asking for is that they are asking for permission to provide this ongoing winter maintenance on these roads, which have been called designated private ways. I believe the original amendment asked when it was 50% of public easements. My understanding is that the town is now willing to say when they have public easements from at least 67% of the property owners. So they're asking the legislature to approve that from October 1 of some year, 2023 or 2024, again, I may have gotten that wrong, that they can continue providing this winter maintenance on these designated private ways if 67% of the property owners have issued these public easements. So that's kind of a summary of the bill. And I really tried to focus in on what, number one, what the two main issues were. There's a lot of secondary issues, as we all know, with roads. The first one is, does home rule authority provide the town with the ability to do any of this without the legislature? And I would say that perhaps items 4 and 5, that it could be argued that they have under their home rule authority the ability to provide this ongoing winter maintenance. And I'm just going to share that with you. There are, and I think they will articulate the reasons why they want it in statute, as opposed to just relying on their home rule authority. And the second issue that was raised at the public hearing was, of course, the scope of the public easement. And I'm referencing, I looked at the public easement deed that the town has been using, and it's fairly standard, and it does not contain any limiting language similar to what this body implemented or passed out of committee with respect to abandoned roads, and that was the public easement retained is limited to rights of access by foot or motor vehicle. I will say that unlike the abandonment and discontinuation statutes, this is a private individual making a decision what the scope of the easement is that they're going to execute to the town. I think it would be difficult in this bill to alter or specify exactly what the scope of the public easement was. You would basically be saying, you private individual, if you're, well, one thing, you could be saying you private individual should be cautious, should only give a public easement to this extent. So it's a little bit of it's a little convoluted. If you wanted to address this potential issue, how to accomplish that. And I do not know if there have been discussions among the interested parties on that particular issue, because it's secondary as far as the bill analysis in my view goes, though I think it may be primary to many people on this committee because we've been talking about this quite a bit. So I'm going to pause now and ask if there's any questions, or if I went too fast or need to explain anything more.
Thank you. Are there any questions here? At this point, Representative Greenwood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not sure. I had expressed some concerns last week with Representative Toole, and those concerns were discussed, and I had a conversation with the Wyndham town manager, and I just wanted to share some of what I thought were positive outcomes from that discussion. Is now a good time?
Yes.
I was concerned with a 2-year extension because that would put us beyond the next legislative session, because October would actually go to the 2 sessions from that. So I would, because of the date of October, I thought that this should be accomplished within 1 year. So currently October 2022 is their expiration date of this. I would like to see it October 2023. I was absolutely comfortable with 2/3, clarifying that it's have opted in. I still have some concerns because technically 1/3 of the population could be losing property rights, but more than a 50% majority, I think 2/3 was a super majority. So I'm hoping that that would be workable with the town, and I see it has been. The other thing that I'd like to see in this bill, if the committee feels it necessary, was some sort of a required public notification. I know they've done meetings. I know they've done sessions with road associations, et cetera. But I had inquired about maybe just putting a notice in with the tax bills that as a public notification, because the tax bill is considered a mailing, and once you send it first class mail, it's considered sent unless it's returned. The town manager indicated that he thought that would be difficult and confusing. So I suggested an additional mailing to the affected parties, because they could potentially be losing property rights that they might not want to. So again, clarifying it's an opt-in, but I was merely asking if the town would consider a separate mailing, not certified mailer or anything like that, just regular first class mail, and then go one step above that with what's called a certificate of mailing through the Postal Service. It's a Form 3877 through the Postal Service or an equivalent, but basically it costs an additional 48 cents in addition to that notification stamp that the post office signs off that yes, it was truly sent. There's no guarantee that it was delivered, but that's where it was sent. And the last notice of property owner would be the one liable if their address is not correct. But those are my only thoughts on this bill, and I just wanted to see what the committee's thoughts were as well.
Thank you, sir. Lynn, you had comments?
Yes, Madam Chair. I wanted to address Representative Greenwood's concerns about the taking of property rights. I heard that from the public hearing, and I did do some research into it. And I didn't mention it because I didn't want to throw too much out there. I don't think that there is for those individuals who never respond, right? For whatever reason, they don't say to the town, yes, we give you a public easement. I don't think that there's a taking because all the property owners along the road have the right to traverse. So if I own before your property, you get to go over my property to get to your house. So if you said, yes, town, you can plow my land, then you have given permission for the town as your invitee to go to your property to plow. And so as your invitee, they have permission to go across my property. So the town may be plowing my property, even though I haven't said yes, because of course they're not going to plow and pull their, plow up while they drive through my property. They could, but I'm assuming that if the town's plowing, they're just going to put that plow down and go across everyone's land from the beginning to the end. If they have permission, they are an invitee. And so therefore they can go across your land. They haven't taken as the constitutional definition of taking means. So I just wanted to share that with the committee, that I do not think that there is a taking. It's someone is crossing my property with permission from a property owner down the road. If they cause damage, that's a different issue. But just traversing across the land is part of every property owner along that road. They have that right, and they can invite others to come to their property.
Okay, thank you. Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Representative Greenwood for bringing up the idea that I have been talking about for several of these meetings regarding this bill and the notice to people and using the certificate of mailing. I like that. I'm just curious if we have the city manager on, if he would be able to tell us why it's such a logistical problem to put it in the tax bill?
Yes, we can ask him to come in, but I'm thinking that it's because most tax bills are run in sequence, and probably putting in additional notification here, there, and everywhere is very, very time consuming. So I understood that the town manager had mentioned letters going out to everybody in the past. So let's see what he has to say.
Yeah.
Mr. Tibbetts, welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much.
There you are.
A couple quick questions, a couple quick answers for you. So yes, in the update when we talked with Lynn, Representative Greenwood, we did talk about October 1st, 2023 for the bill to be changed to that. We did put in the 67% number, and we also put in under section 4 or under section 3, number 4 at the very bottom, that I said that we would send out a mailing within 60 days of the approval of this bill. The town would send out a letter to all the abutters with verification using the postal form you recommended. And we would inform all the abutters of the designated private ways of winter maintenance solution that we're proposing with the the ordinance, their responsibilities, the timeline to respond and everything. So we would represent all of that with them and re-educate them to that point, giving them the new confirmed dates. The reason I didn't want to do it in the tax bills was we only do one tax bill mailing. And it's just so much easier for me to do it this other way with the three, you know, the 30, the postal form. That's why I didn't want to do the tax bills for the short.
Yes, clarify that.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
And
you very
and that postal number, is that 3877, Representative Greenwood?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Representative Copeland, you have another question?
Yes, the other thing was about ATV use. You know, if these are going to be called public roads, then people can just go on them. I know I brought this up. I don't know if there's been any resolution to that or any thinking around it.
With regard to other than pedestrians and motor vehicles, is there limitation on the public easements in this regard, or is that an issue here? Lynn or Mr. Tibbetts?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do think that it's a potential legal issue. The way the document, the way the public easement deed that the town has been using has been drafted, it does not limit the use in any way, shape, or form. And so there is the potential either tomorrow or 20 years from now that the public easement use could include ATVs or other types of vehicles. There are ways the town and there are probably ways the town could fix that or prevent that if they wanted to, and that would be to change the wording in that public easement deed that they are getting property owners to sign to specifically exclude things that they may want to exclude. I think that would be the simplest way.
Mr. Tibbetts?
Just a quick thought on this is because this question was raised by Roberta Cardoza, who had previously called and testified. And currently, if you're on a private road and someone puts an ATV on it, my police officers can't respond to deal with that issue. We have no jurisdiction. We don't go down. We don't regulate that. We won't. So those ATVs are going to go wherever they want. If we have a public easement on that road and someone puts an ATV on it, then my officers can respond. So it's kind of a, now if you have a private road, right, and my officers can't enforce it, but someone wants to go on it, even if this wasn't the issue here, even if we weren't going to have a public easement on it, there's no way for the private residents to regulate that. We're offering them, in some respects, they're getting an additional benefit out of this to have better regulation.
Representative Copeland?
It's not considered.
I respectfully disagree. I think that it could be a problem. We're in this committee, we're well aware of other situations where abuse of roads, public roads or whatever, becomes a really big deal for people. They have to spend money to fix something that somebody else just rips through without a cause or care. And if it's on their own private property, then it's up to them to deal with. I would very much like to see a carve out for recreational vehicles that are not from the property owners. We're not trying to tell the property owners they can or can't use them, but I'm just saying others can't fly through without permission.
Representative Greenwood?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, I don't really have a preference either way. If the town of Wyndham wants to allow recreational vehicles such as snowmobiles and ATVs and UTVs on these roads, that would be something that they should be discussing now in the beginning rather than later on, because it does say motor vehicle. And I think motor vehicle defined is anything with a motor. So Again, I don't have a preference what they want. This is.
Okay. Okay, Lynn, I have a question in this regard. And maybe I was not paying attention that day in class. But what is the definition when they say pedestrians and motorized vehicles? And does the town have the authority to allow or not allow snowmobiles and ATVs on these roads? Don't people who drive those vehicles need to get permission from the town to do that? Or is that something I dreamed up?
Nope, it's not something you've dreamed up. So there is a way under current law going forward. If a road is abandoned, the public easement is limited to pedestrian traffic and a defined motor vehicle that's defined, which excludes snowmobiles and ATVs. So if the town wants to limit the allowed public use over a public easement, they have that right. They can do it informally or they can do it formally in the language in the public easement that they obtain. They probably could enact an ordinance that said public easements in this town are limited to, pedestrians, or public easements in this town do not include ATV or snowmobile use. Your question about getting permission. Under the statute, ATV clubs are required to get permission from the property owner. Many towns in the state consider themselves to have the legal authority to grant permission for ATVs. And you may recall that Tom Doak talked about this kind of dispute. Who really has the authority, the abutting property owner or the town? It's confusing in the state. So I would say somebody needs to give permission, but it could be the town or it could be the property owner. So I think that, in summary, I think that the lack of clarity on the town's public easement, the scope of their public easement, is probably something that should be fixed sooner rather than let it become an issue in the future.
Okay, thank you. Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I like what Representative Greenwood, Representative Copeland suggested for an amendment early on about the notice, and I'm pleased that the town has come up with it, has agreed to all of the above. This whole discussion about ATVs and four-wheelers and all of that, I think, if I'm getting offered a public easement and I know that there could be ATVs running up and down my road, and I also know that I have to agree for this plowing to continue. So the threshold is not 50%, it's 67%. So I would say that gives the property owners on those roads more power to say, I don't want ATVs on my road, and the only way I'm going to sign your public easement is if that's not it, is that it's specifically spelled out in there. That's my thought. Maybe I'm off base there, but I guess I'd like Mr. Tibbetts to respond to that for one. And for another, I just think that we should keep this bill as narrow and focused on Wyndham, which indeed it is a Wyndham bill, private and special bill, and just go from there and just focus on the plowing and let things and end it as soon as we can possibly end it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tibbetts, do you have any comment on what Representative Toole has suggested?
Yeah, I just had as I was listening to the conversation, a suggestion that I think might work is, what if instead of trying to change the bill and limit the language, just leave the definition as it is, and then we go back into the ordinance and we regulate it that way. So let's say Road A says we absolutely don't want any ATVs on our road, and we say, okay, that's allowable within our ordinance. It can be posted that way, and we'll leave it that way. But roads B, C, D, and E, they say, no, we don't really care. We're fine with it. Then we we just leave it as is. They use it. So the residents simply come back to us. It's our headache. They just come back to us and, as the association, they're all going to have their statutory road associations or their nonprofit associations. They'll come in and say, look, we have a problem. We really want you to help us. And we'll say, okay, well, then we'll limit no ATVs, et cetera. Do it that way. It might make it more simple and easy.
I think so. I think you're actually absolutely right, Mr. Tibbetts. That sounds good to me. Representative Chul, your hand is still up. Do you have another question or comment?
I do, and I thank you. And I also, for Mr. Tibbetts, my question was, so you've seen what Representative Greenwood's proposed, and you're okay with the opt-in, that it be the individuals. You're okay with the opt-in, that it has to be all of the members on the road, that it be 2/3 of all the members on the road, not just who happens to show up to a road association meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Sounds good. That was my main other question.
Thank you. Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Question for the town manager. Maybe I didn't catch on earlier in the conversation, but number one in the proposed amendment talks about the short-term activity, and the wording now says until October 1st, 2024. And somewhere along in the conversation, I thought I heard everybody was agreeable to 2023. Is that the case?
I believe so. You're comfortable with October 2023, sir? Mr.
Correct.
Tibbetts. Thank you. Is that the answer to your question, Representative Reisman?
Thank you. Yes.
You're most welcome. So it appears that the suggestions made by Representative Greenwood are our discussion today, and the folks from Wyndham we're all in agreement about how this should move forward. Lynn, do you have anything to add, or do we? Obviously, we need to make another amendment to the bill, but yes, Lynn.
Yes, I just, I wanted to say this before someone made a motion.
Okay.
Adopt as amended.
Mhm.
In addition, if you have the language about the notice, then about the notice being mailed, two things. One, when it comes out of the revisor's office, it may read differently. They are very hesitant about forms, but I understand what your purpose is. And what your intent is. So I will make sure that it's clear that there is an official type of notice with return receipt going to these individuals.
No, there's no return receipt.
Okay,
No.
All right. I will look up what that form is, and I will make sure that the language in the bill mirrors what that form would require.
Okay.
I would also suggest that this is creating that little 48 cents is creating a mandate. So you may want to agree to add a mandate preamble. This is already an emergency bill, so it's not going to change the 2/3 requirement. And if Mr. Tibbetts is raising his hand because 48 cents isn't that much, I just want to point out that in the 129, there was a town up north that had 20 registered voters, and they needed to spend 20 cents per 20 registered voter, and that had a mandate preamble because there was a fiscal note. So OFPR will identify this as a cost and a state mandate. So
Well, I didn't realize that. That was a good education for me, but the 48 cents is not an issue for us at all, just so you know. I want to go on record that there's not an issue for this. So you will hear nothing from us.
Understood. You won't be getting a check from the state to reimburse you for that amount. So Representative Toole, you had another question?
Yes, a thought just occurred to me. That's sometimes a dangerous thing, but thank you, Madam Chair. My thought was, should there be some reporting requirement to come back to the committee either next year or in 2020 after this whole thing is done, after the 2023 deadline? Should there be a final report? And I don't necessarily mean for it to have to happen next year, but maybe when the whole thing is done, just to say, this is where we landed. I mean, I don't know how folks feel about that, so.
I'm not sure how I feel about that either. Representative Bryant, you have a comment?
Yeah, thank you. I get a little nervous when it starts talking about a mandate and also sending it to the Appropriations Committee. I just wonder if there's any way that Randall, Representative Greenwood would understand that our town manager certainly is the man of his word, and if we could keep it from going to the appropriations table, it would be a big deal for us.
Representative Greenwood?
Yes, thank you. I mean, I know I referenced the form as a point of reference, but it's considered a certificate of mailing, and it could be just worded as the town has to provide proof that they sent it without specifying the form or the cost, just some sort of a verification that it was sent. That's all I was suggesting.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Representative Copeland?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I could suggest that an affidavit would suffice with a list of the mailing and somebody has it notarized, whatever. But I was thinking when Rep. Tool said about the coming back in the reporting, when the town manager mentioned that we'll do it in local ordinance, it kind of rang a little bell. That sounds really good, and I'm all for that. But I'm also a former city councilor, and I know that you have to go through the city council process, and we have no guarantee that that's going to happen. So I would like to report back, maybe not even in person, just, a submission of a report saying this ordinance and this ordinance with this language has come through. So I don't think it has to be a whole big thing, but I do think that it's important for that check-in to happen in case the ordinance don't go through. Or in case they go through with language that doesn't match what we're looking for.
Okay, and when would you like the report back to take place?
Well, he's within 60 days of the mailing or something, I don't know. Pick a number, pick a date.
But that's also but also regarding the ordinance?
Oh, well, let him, what do you think?
I can clearly get that done, all of that done within 60 days, no problem.
Okay,
I'll make it
thank
happen.
you.
And I'll send along a note to Lynn Caswell, and then she can forward it out to the committee. I'll send you a memo of what everything that's done, the dates and all of that. How's that?
Okay, thank you, sir. Representative Tool?
Yes, and I thank you as well. I think just to simplify it, have the report back by January 15th. So I guess it would be 2024. Would it be 2024 or 2023? Either way.
24, right?
Yeah, that's right.
After the end of the program, which is October 23.
Right. So have it set, have a report back for that day. And that way nobody has to worry about 60 days here or 60 days there. But yet it cleans it up and closes the chapter on this as soon as possible. So.
Okay. All right. Lynn Caswell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to clarify, because I hear what the committee is saying, that you want to prevent the this bill going on appropriations or needing a state mandate preamble. So am I correct that the committee would be happy with language that required the town to collect evidence, and I'm making this up as I go along, collect evidence that notice in accordance with something form, whatever the form is, has been obtained? Would that satisfy the committee? I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that OFPR won't flag that as a mandate. So I guess I'm a little concerned about how to word that to avoid a mandate.
Apologies. Representative Tool?
Yes, and thank you. I think it's going to be a mandate regardless, because if we're telling the town they have to do this, if we're telling them that they have to provide notice, then, and yeah, I don't see how it would not be a mandate. Now, I also don't, I also see Representative Bryant's concern. I personally, that's why I think we should be going for a unanimous vote as much as possible, and why we put the effort into it to get that. And I think if we have a unanimous vote, it will be very difficult to not pass the bill once it gets to us and move it along.
Okay, Representative Bryant.
Thank you. I'm not as concerned about the mandate if that's clarity. My concern is the appropriations table, and that was what would hold me up. So the mandate, you want to be as open as possible. If it's a mandate, it's a mandate. You know, I don't want to hide that. What I don't want is be tied up in the appropriations table worrying about it because we want to move through. So I want to be as open as possible. So I'm not concerned about the mandate as my concern was keep it off the appropriations table, whatever the language you send out.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think what I would suggest is I will add a mandate preamble. I will draft the language that the town has an obligation to prove that it did this mailing. And if the OFPR flags that mailing, then I'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
Does that
All right,
sound like
sounds good.
an acceptable plan?
Yes, it does. Mr. Tibbetts?
Would it be helpful for me to send a memo that the town has no objections to this, doing the mailing?
No.
That help to
No.
have it in writing from me? No?
No.
Okay, just thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah. If we say you have to do something, there is a mandate.
Okay,
And Ms. Graham from MMA would not be happy either if that didn't happen. So, all right. Are we all in agreement on the language?
Yes.
We're all in agreement when we're happy with where this is going. Okay, so Cheryl, first of all, do we have a motion, Representative Bryant, on this bill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do move LD 1975 as amended.
I'll
Thank you,
second
sir.
that.
Thank you, Mr. Greenwood. Cheryl, there being a motion and a second, is there any more comment? Representative Bryant, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to know that this is going to close out. I just wanted to thank our analysts for all the hard work they did. Town obviously did hundreds of hours of work, but we've really put it through the mill. This is just one bill. Think of all the bills that come before them. And because it is discussion time, I just want to throw that out there again to Lynn that we really appreciate it and thank you.
Thank you very much. We always do appreciate the hard work of Lynn and also Cheryl. But yes, Lynn, your yeoman's work on this one. And so happy to have consensus on this bill. That was not a given going in, but it's wonderful that we could get there. So Cheryl, could you call the roll, please?
I will. LD 1975 ought to pass as amended. Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
Yes.
Representative William Toole, yes. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
Yeah.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. That's 9 yes and 3 absent.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much for all your hard work. And Mr. Tibbetts, you and the folks in Wyndham are to be complimented on making this matter a successful bill. We hope you're successful with your roads down there and all the public easements that you need to get.
Thank you, Co-Chairman Matlack and representatives. We really appreciate your timeliness and help in this, and we wish you the very best and hope you have a wonderful rest of the legislature, and we'll take care of our end and get it done.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much, sir.
Thank you.
Now, we have a couple more bills that we need to work with. How about we go to LD 2002, an act to eliminate inactive boards and commissions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I hope you all had a chance to look at what I provided for you. So this is LD 2002, an act to eliminate inactive boards and commissions. And I'm going to remind the committee that similar to the GEA review you did, this is something that state and local government does every second session. You get a report from the Secretary of State's office that identifies two groups of boards and commissions. Those that have filed reports in the past 2 years and said we've been inactive, and those that have failed to file their reports in the past 2 years. And then this committee has the ability to examine whether or not any of those boards and commissions should be eliminated, and to determine whether or not they serve an ongoing function and perhaps just failed to file a necessary report or have been inactive due to, certain circumstances. So you had a bill that had 10 boards and commissions listed, though there were 11 that you considered eliminating. One was not included in the bill, and that is the Penobscot Tribal Reservation Housing Authority. It was not included because of time constraints. If you remove something from statute, you have to find every other place it's referenced and remove it, and that just was very complicated. So it was not in the bill. However, that does not mean the committee does not have the authority to eliminate it. The individuals with respect to the Penobscot Tribal Housing Authority were notified before and have submitted testimony during, and they are part of the analysis that I put together. But I just want to note for you all that, and for anyone who's listening, that they weren't in the bill language. However, the committee still has the authority to address whether they are active or inactive. So I'm going to share a screen with you. And in the past, generally, what the committee does is find out what's going on with these boards and commissions. Again, there were 10 of them. Can you see the chart in front of you that has the words keep and eliminate? Is that showing up on your screen? Yes. Okay. So what I have here are each of those boards and commissions, a column that tells you what people testified about, keep or eliminate. I've highlighted the eliminates. I have indicated in the next column who provided testimony, whether written, oral, or in emails to me. So you can see who you received feedback from. There was a question about general fund allocations. So I did reach out to all these entities to find out what their general fund allocations were. That's the next column. And the final column are some of any comments that were provided that I think may provide information to you on why they were inactive or why they didn't report or why they should be capped or eliminated. So first one was the Animal Welfare Advisory Council. There was a number of individuals who testified in favor of keeping it, including the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry, the chair and several members of this council. There were several recent appointments made by Governor Mills, and they indicated that they have already met twice this year and have a meeting planned for next week. So that was testimony to keep. The Cleanup and Response Fund Review Board, also you received testimony from Department of Environmental Protection and from the Governor's Office that this entity should be retained. They have an ongoing function, and you'll see that they don't get any direct general fund allocation. The average cost is $10,000 a year, and it comes out of another fund, the Main Ground and Surface Waters Cleanup and Response Fund. The Combat Sports Authority of Maine was the next entity. Again, there was testimony to keep it from the chairman, the officer of the governor, and different individuals. They met during 2020 and 2021 by Zoom. They actually have gone back and filed one of the reports that they failed to file. And they indicated that they are a self-funded entity. The next two are entities that both the department and the office of the governor testified can be eliminated. The Commission to End Student Hunger has been replaced by the Commission to End Hunger by 2030. And the testimony was that this was an error, that the Commission to End Hunger by 2030 should have removed all reference to the Commission to End Student Hunger, so that could be eliminated. The Driver Education and Evaluation Program Appeals Board, both DHHS and the Office of the Governor testified that it would be okay to eliminate. This board provides an appeal avenue for clients of what's called the DEEP program. Generally, these are individuals who have lost their licenses due to substance use disorder. The department testified that there are other appeal avenues available within the department. They have a division of administrative hearings, which many clients of DHHS use when they are dissatisfied with a department action. The next, the Maine State Film Commission. You heard testimony from Department of Economic and Community Development, and the Office of the Governor testified that this is an important board that should be kept. It serves an ongoing function. Its budget is tied to the Tourism Marketing and Promotion Fund, and they receive about $10,000 annually. The Nutrient Management Review Board, you received testimony again from the Governor's Office and the Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry. Again, this serves ongoing function. There have been new appointments, and there is no general fund or other special revenue allocation. I mentioned the Penobscot Tribal Reservation Housing Authority. The housing director, Michael Bush, provided written testimony. This is funded through HUD. It's money from HUD directly to the tribe. They meet with the Penobscot Nation Council in Chief on an ongoing basis, and it's been in existence for 20 years. Office of the Governor testified that this should be retained. And also this, Michael Bush did go in and fill out the 2021 report with the Secretary of State. Unfortunately, I don't think you can go back 2 years. You can only go back one. The next two are testimony to eliminate, which is the Potato Marketing Improvement Fund Committee, which the Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, the Executive Director of the Maine Potato Board, and the Office of the Governor all testified that that can be eliminated as it no longer serves a function, and some of its roles are already being done by other entities. Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Council, the Office of the Governor provided testimony that that could be eliminated. And finally, the Seaweed Fisheries Advisory Council, the Office of the Governor and Department of Marine Resources asked that this be kept. The only funding is reimbursement to members, and it was about $500 on average. And the department testified that it's been inactive because DMR did not have staff to assist this council in doing their business, but that it's an important liaison between the department and the seaweed industry. So in summary, there were 1, 2, 4 that testimony was provided that they could be eliminated. Commission to End Hunger, the DEEP Appeals Board, the Potato Committee, and Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics.
Thank you. Could you refresh my memory as to why or where the work that might have been done by the STEM Council went? Do you know?
I do not. We did not receive any testimony from the Department of Education on that particular board or that particular commission. Just the email from, let me double check. Yes, just the email from the office of the governor.
Okay. All right. Representative Bryant.
Yeah, could we have maybe Mr. Feely come in just for a minute and give us a quick touch on that, so we'd all feel better about anytime we eliminate something, we really want to, even though he's on the administration side, it might give some insight.
Right. Is Mr. Feely in the waiting room? Yes, he is. If we
He
could
is.
bring him across, that'd be great.
Yeah, he should be coming.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Feely. Welcome back to State and Local Government. Sir, we have a couple of questions with regard to the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Council. It's the recommendation that it be eliminated. Explanation, please.
Sure. Thanks for having me and bringing me in. So I asked Department of Education if they supported eliminating it, and they said that they did because I hadn't met in 2 years, and I asked them for more clarification about why, and I have not heard back from them. I have to admit, I just pinged them again this morning. But the initial conversation I had from the person in our office who works for the Department of Education is that that the entities on the council work together so frequently that they perhaps found it duplicative. But I have asked for more clarification on that. And I'm sorry, I don't have a firm answer for why right now, but that was the initial response that I got.
Thank you. Representative Toole.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. That seems to be my recollection as well from talking to people that I know, not at the department, but just that the folks that are in that realm tend to communicate and work together on a very regular basis. Yeah, I mean, that sounds consistent with what I've been here, what I've heard.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions with regard to the 4 commissions, councils that we're contemplating? How illiterate of me. Contemplating eliminating at this time? Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not against eliminating the STEM council, but it's such an important thing for our students' future that without actual information and just, well, we kind of think, I think that we should not eliminate that at this moment, but keep it on the chopping block for next time.
Is Representative Bryant?
I also feel more comfortable with that. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. It is our children in our future, depend on them to have all the tools. I'm confident that our administration has it under wraps, but I feel much better without real clarity in eliminating.
Okay, thank you. So we have three commissions that we're proposing to eliminate. Any further discussion of this? May I have a motion on this bill? Representative Copeland?
I'll move that we eliminate the 3 inactive committees, the Potato Marketing Improvement, the Commission to End Student Hunger, and the Driver Ed and Evaluation Program Appeals Board.
Thank you. Do I have a second, please? Thank you, Representative Bryant. Are there any further questions with regard to the 3 entities that we're considering eliminating? Cheryl, please.
So when this is motion, is it an ought to pass motion, ought to pass as amended? Okay, Thank you very much, Lynn.
I'm sorry, yes, ought to pass as amended, eliminating those 3 commissions and boards.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. So there being no further discussion, Cheryl, if you could call the roll, please.
Yes. LD 2002 ought to pass as amended. Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
Yes.
Representative William Toole, yes. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
Yes.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. 9 yes, 3 absent.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Feely, for coming back and clarify some things for us. We appreciate your participation today.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too, sir. We have one more bill today, LD 859, an act to allow municipalities to use ranked choice voting in municipal elections. At our last meeting, Representative Reisman had wanted clarification about whether referendum questions at municipal meetings were also included in this, or whether it was just for elected officials. Lynn, do you have clarification on that?
I do, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. So I am going to screen share in a moment the entire relevant portion of the law that you voted ought to pass as amended. And your intention was to allow for other ways of selecting the winner, AKA ranked choice voting, for the election of officers by secret ballot. Representative Reisman asked, what about referendums? I did quite a lot of research, and there are several referendum sections in Title 30A. Most of them say it's a yes/no question, but not all of them say it's a yes/no question. And I received information that in some municipalities, it can be an ABC question, which would lead to an issue with the plurality language. So then I looked at the law as you proposed to amend it. So hopefully you all see this bill, and in the orange is the language that you voted ought to pass as amended, which says, unless otherwise provided for at a municipal meeting held at least 180 days before the annual meeting, the provisions of this subsection apply. Elections must be by plurality vote. In the lead-in to this section of law, 2528, the secret ballot applies. If you look at the yellow, it applies to the election of town officials or to municipal referenda elections. You could also allow for municipal referendum elections that aren't the yes/no to be determined in a manner other than a plurality vote if you wanted to. And it would fit within this section 2528, and it would apply only to referenda elections that are done by secret ballot. So it is something you could do, and it would fit into this section. It would require a little bit more of a language change to make it clear that it applies both to the election of town officials and to referendums.
Okay, thank you very much. So were we to move forward with Representative Reisman's suggested amendment, we would include the language that was highlighted in yellow in order to clarify, or is that already in the the bill?
That's
The
already in
statute.
the bill. I would need to add additional language that would say for referenda elections, the municipality would have the ability to determine a different way other than the plurality. So it would be similar language, but it would be additional language.
Okay, thank you. Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have a question for Lynn. It's my understanding that under the statutes that there is not a provision currently for municipal elections of officers to take place with ranked choice voting, and this bill was going to accomplish that. But it's also my understanding, after further research, that referendum votes can take place with ranked choice voting regardless. That's an option for each town to accomplish a referendum through ranked choice voting. Do you have an opinion on that?
So I did not look at this. My opinion depends on whether if there's something in statute that says referendum elections must be by plurality, then the municipality couldn't do ranked choice. I did not look into whether the statute specifically prevents or requires plurality, because most ranked choice questions under statute are a yes, no. So there is no need for ranked choice.
Madam Chair,
Representative Reisman.
Is there anybody waiting in the wings that might want to address this? I thought we might have John
Well,
Broderick.
I believe that Representative Berry is here.
Okay. Could we bring him
in?
Yes, please. And get his take on this, because I'm getting a little confused by it, if that's okay.
Sure, certainly. Representative Berry, thank you for coming back to state and local government. It's good to have you here again.
Good afternoon. Good to be with you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Representative Rice, I'm hoping you heard Representative Reisman's question with regard to ranked choice voting or other means of voting other than plurality with regard to referendum questions. Do you have any comments you'd like to share?
I have been informed by the League of Women Voters that there was a municipal referendum in the non-charter town of Skowhegan recently, and that took place using ranked choice voting. Now, I have not verified that independently, but I do consider the League of Women Voters to be a very reliable source, and I certainly would trust in the judgment of your analysts to make sure that this bill carries out your intent regardless. I'm quite happy with the way that the majority voted on the bill previously, but if you see the need to amend it further, obviously that's your prerogative, and I'm happy to be here and try to be a resource.
Thank you very much. Let me see. Okay, Representative Reisman, do you have any further comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm all for transparency in votes, and as much information that can be given to the voting public and choices. That is where I'm trying to head with this. And I guess I'm still not clear. Maybe I'll just ask again one more time to clarify. It's my understanding that the statutes are silent when it relates to referendum votes, and that a town can choose or not choose to have it be plurality or have it be ranked choice voting. So let me just double check that with the analyst and see if she's in agreement with that.
Lynn Caswell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When I searched the statute on Title 30A regarding referendum elections, I did not find a provision that required plurality votes. The only specific language had to do with how the question was worded, yes or no. So there isn't anything in the statute that I'm aware of that says it must be a plurality, which could mean that absent language, the home rule applies and a municipality can undertake their elections the way they see fit.
I understand that Julie Flynn is in the waiting room. Can we bring her over? She may be able to clarify some information for us here. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Flynn. Welcome back to State and Local Government. We have, oh, and Mr. Brodigan is here also. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We were wondering if you two might be able to bring some clarity to this. We're talking about municipal referendum questions and whether or not they are strictly plurality or whether they can be decided by something other than a plurality vote. Ms. Flynn?
Well, I guess I would say that if there is just a yes/no choice, then either yes or no is going to get a majority of the votes cast for and against the question. You would not include blank votes in that, so you would automatically have a majority. I thought the question came up though, because some towns might have something that had 3 choices. So, you know, sort of an A, B, or C type of choice. And then you might not have something get a majority of the votes between those 3 choices. And that's where I think that folks were looking at maybe applying ranked choice to that.
Yes,
And
that's the question that we've come up with is can it also be applied to referendum questions?
I'm going to probably let the lawyers in the room maybe answer. I honestly, I haven't worked in a municipality for 27 years now, so I'd be afraid to mislead you since I haven't looked at Title 30A.
All right,
recently.
maybe we'll ask Mr. Brodigan. Mr. Brodigan, if you could introduce yourselves to those of us who don't already know you, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is John Brodigan. I am legal counsel to the League of Women Voters of Maine. And I would just want to echo what Lynn said earlier, that this provision, the way it is written here, I believe it would satisfy what Representative Reisman is seeking in terms of giving the municipalities authority to make that choice in the event they have a ballot question that has 3 options. So we want to build a new school, we want to build a new firehouse, or do we want to build a new library? And you could, rank those as 1, 2, 3. That would be permissible under the amendment that is before you today. The reason I think this is maybe a little confusing is that you need to look at all of this as being part of Section 2528, which would be giving this authority throughout municipalities. And if you don't put this in, then you go down to subsection 10 of 2528 and you see election by plurality vote. And it implies that you have to only use a plurality system. And then you get into a little bit of confusion if you have that 3-way kind of race. So my understanding is that this language, the sentence that's added here today, does address both using ranked choice voting in a conventional candidate race and possibly using ranked choice voting in a 3-way ballot question race.
Thank you. Are you talking about, in reference to the amended article, amended bill, we have highlighted in sort of a beige? Is that the part you're talking about, or the yellow that specifically mentions referendum? You know what were you able to see Lynn's?
I believe the yellow portion was already in the statute, if I'm not mistaken.
It's already in the statute. Good. Okay, perfect. So by adding the option to use other than plurality voting, that would also apply to referendum question if we add that language to the statute.
That's correct.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your clarifying this for us. Representative Reisman, are you clear on this one?
I'm a lot clearer now, and I do have it on authority that the town of Skowhegan did use ranked choice voting, or will be using ranked choice voting on a referendum question. So
Okay.
I think this is timely.
Okay, yes, it is. So we did last time table your motion for a second amendment. Shall we take it off the table and vote it down and then proceed with the other vote?
Pleasure of the committee, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to take the, or can we just leave it on the table and move on with the other? No, we have to deal with that before we go forward, don't we? Representative Toole?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So we voted to table our discussion on the bill. So
right.
I don't believe there was a motion made prior to tabling it, so you can make whatever motion you choose.
Okay, well, let's may I have a motion to take this bill off the table, please? Representative Bryant?
I'll make that.
Moved. So moved.
And Representative Reisman is seconding that. So motion to take this bill off the table. Show of hands for those who are interested in taking this bill off the table. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those opposed to taking this off the table, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do have 5 to take it off the table. So now we'll proceed to the bill itself. We had a motion on the table, ought to pass as amended. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, I have that you had a motion to reconsider.
Okay.
Right, and then, and Cheryl, help me out here. You had a motion to reconsider. I don't have a note that Representative Reisman made a motion to amend.
Okay, then that's fine. And so we have already voted on this bill.
Right.
Fine. Then we'll let the voting stand unless somebody else wishes to change that.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I believe in the original vote that it was a 5-4 and maybe 4 against, and then I wanted to have agreement ought to pass, but to amend it.
Correct.
So I would, for the sake of moving the process forward, I'll side with everybody on the majority side.
So you would vote ought to pass as amended.
Yes.
Okay. Is that how we would do this, Lynn?
I am not entirely sure. Representative Toole, Cheryl and Representative Toole have things to say on this question.
Cheryl.
Yeah, back on February 7th of this year, the vote ended up being, with Representative Reisman's vote, 7 ought to pass as amended and 5 ought not to pass.
Okay.
So Representative Reisman did vote ought to pass as amended back on February 7th.
Okay. So that's fine. We still have that vote and we'll stick with that vote. Representative Toole, you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So once a bill is reconsidered, I believe you have to re-vote it, even though the outcome may stay the same. I believe you have to have another vote.
Mr. Brodigan is agreeing with you. So Representative Bryant.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also thought when we reconsidered it, then he voted, we ended up with three pieces. One ought not to pass, one ought to pass as amended, and he had ought to pass as amended on his own. And then we moved on. So I think either we reconsider altogether and make sure we're cleaned up and then start over would be the best way to go with it. That way everybody's happy.
All right. Representative Reisman, would you like to make a motion to on this issue?
I would like to make a motion that this bill ought to pass.
Yeah, we need to see you, sir.
I'm sorry. This keeps happening to me. Hold on just a
Okay.
second. I can get back
Okay,
to the
here we
Zoom.
go. Ought to pass as amended, sir?
Yes. Ought to pass as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Representative Bryant. Are there any further discussions about this bill? There being none, Cheryl, could you call the roll?
I will. LD 859 ought to pass as amended. Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Kimberly Rosen ought not to pass, ma'am. Okay, ought not to pass. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
No.
Representative William Toole, no. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
No.
Representative Randall Greenwood, no. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head. Representative Francis
No.
Head. Are you there? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry, I couldn't see you. No? Okay, thank you. Representative
No.
Francis Head, no. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. Currently, it stands 4 ought to pass as amended, 5 ought not to pass, and 3 absent.
All right. Thank you very much. Representative Reisman, do you have your hand up or are you just stretching?
Oh, I'm just stretching. Just
Okay.
stretching. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Representative Bryant,
My apologies. I take my hand.
thank you. Representative Berry.
I just want to say thank you to the committee. I know you've had a long day. I appreciate your attention to this issue and to voting in our wonderful municipalities.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Lynn, do we have anything else on our agenda today? Is that our last bill?
That is your last bill, Madam Chair.
Okay. Anything else for us? We're not meeting on Wednesday. We're going to Augusta. Anything further for us today? No, Representative Bryant.
I just want to thank the committee again for the helping on 1975, especially Will Toole as the lead and Representative Randall. You know, everybody came together understanding that this was not a pleasant place to be, but we needed to find a way out. And I want to thank the complete committee for their deliverance and attention to detail. Thank you.
Oh, it was a good outcome for this bill. There being no other work before the committee today, I'll bid you a fond farewell and I will see you all in person on Wednesday in Augusta. Bye.